welcome to Croydon College and the world of work. We're with you this morning as part of National Apprenticeship Week. And this is our last webinar for this week. We've been holding a series of webinars all week talking about the wonderful world of apprenticeships. And this morning we're specifically talking about higher education apprenticeships, but not solely. And we are very happy to take any other conversations that people might want to have about the more general subject of apprenticeships. With me this morning, I have two colleagues from Croydon College. I have Mimi Neething Taylor. Hi, Mimi. Mimi is head of our higher education at the Croydon University Centre here at Croydon College. And I have Simon Friend. Hi, Simon. Simon is head of apprenticeships at Croydon College. So two people who can help you answer anything you might need to know this morning about studying at an apprenticeship level with us here at Croydon College. Now, before we get going this morning, I just want to remind you that we'd love to hear from you and you can chat to us this morning. So please do use that chat function to put your comments or your questions if we're not asking anything, if we're not asking the right things or you've got something you want to know, then please do ask those questions. And I'll put those to either Simon or Mimi, depending on the question. We are going to be running through a presentation at the end of which there will be a further opportunity for questions. So do please stay with us. And as I say, if there is something that we're not talking about this morning, then don't be afraid to ask, because between us, I'm sure we can help you with the answer. Just to remind everybody that's watching, if you haven't been with us for any of our other webinars this week, they are all available to view on the Croydon College website, croydon.ac.uk/National Apprenticeship Week. And this week we've had a variety of opportunities to talk to you all. We've talked generally about apprenticeships on Monday. On Tuesday we met some of the great employers that are looking for apprenticeships. That's a really interesting session. You get to hear from about 6 or 7 employers that talk that will tell you about the roles that they're looking for and what they're looking for when they're employing apprenticeships. And yesterday we had a webinar which we ran in conjunction with Croydon University Hospital and the NHS, and that was all about vacancies within the health sector. So really, really important subjects, and as I say, you can watch them all back online at your leisure. But this morning we are concentrating on higher education and the role of apprenticeships. And I'm going to pass over to Simon, who's going to do an introduction. I'm just going to share my screen. And then we'll get going. But just to remind you that you can ask your questions, so please do ask your questions and we will put them to you. So bear with me. Hopefully people can see my screen. Over to you, Simon.
Okay.
My computer's just trying to catch up at the moment.
Yeah, so we'll just wait for that to go into slide mode, and fantastic.
Do you want to just talk generally whilst we get to
Sure. So hi everyone, hopefully you can see me okay there. Really welcome to this event. Hopefully some of you guys will have already attended some of the other events. We've had, like Catherine's mentioned, we've had some great sessions throughout the week to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week and really raise awareness of it. As Catherine's mentioned, this session really is focused predominantly, not exclusively, but predominantly on higher level apprenticeships. A lot of people don't realize that. They tend to think of vocational or you go to university. Absolutely not the case. We have a fantastic university centre at the college, and alongside traditional higher education courses, we run the higher apprenticeships. So they've got that vocational and technical element, as well as having a key, strong employer engagement elements of them as well. So with the higher apprenticeship programs, we've basically looking at anything from level 4 up actually through to level 7. So what Catherine's just pulled up there as well is quite an interesting slide. I want to just quickly mention this because this is a slide that's going to relate to a lot of people from different perspectives, really. So the world of work is a brand. It's essentially everything: employer engagement, skills, career based. Okay, so whether it's from a student's perspective, prospective employee, or an employer or industry. Okay, so it's everything around work, hence the world of work. And just to quickly mention there that we've got industry placements as well. That's something, if you are studying on a full-time course at the moment with a view to looking to go into an apprenticeship or a higher apprenticeship, we've got industry placements and work experience, absolutely essential. So alongside your full-time studies, you get to go into a placement and work at the coalface, really, with employers in your chosen area, a chosen field, really. So you're getting some really good insight into that industry before you take that next step into going and securing employment within that field. Obviously, apprenticeships we're talking about with a focus on HE. We also have a fantastic selection of online learning as well, which is obviously with the current climate, people's use of computers has gone up massively, from using it for social reasons, but also personal development. And that we've got some fantastic programs very much around personal development, but also career development, whether that's about getting a skill or a qualification that you need to make you eligible to be able to apply for a particular post, or whether you just want to increase or deepen your knowledge of a particular area. So do check the online courses out. We've got brilliant staff and tutors that support online. You get a personal tutor, lots of interaction. Fantastic. Really has come into its own over the last 12 months, really. And Kickstart, this is a brilliant initiative that the government launched. You may have heard of this on the news. This is very much targeting 16 to 24-year-old young people who are currently unemployed on universal credit, but are at risk of long-term unemployment. So it's an initiative that we can help kickstart someone's career by engaging with us. We work with Job Centre Plus and Department for Work and Pensions and the fantastic range of employers that we already work with to create 6-month work placements, which are absolutely fantastic. And very often they lead straight onto an apprenticeship. So it's a great opportunity to get your foot in the door and get paid as well. So, okay. So moving on then, if we can, please. So, the higher apprenticeship, what are higher apprenticeships? As I touched on a little earlier, really. So anything above level 3 and higher apprenticeships actually range from level 4 through to level 7. At Croydon College, we've got level 4 and level 5 higher apprenticeships, but as I say, they do range right up through to level 7 degree level. So the beauty with the higher apprenticeships is they do combine your studies at a higher technical level within a professional environment. So unlike studying on a full-time HE program where you may well have a student loan, with a higher apprenticeship, you can be studying that same technical discipline or professional discipline, but you're being paid while you do that. Okay, so and the great thing is there, it really enhances your development, gives you a much deeper understanding of knowledge and the skills that you need, because you're actually, spending what is essentially 20% of your week, your working week, studying off what we call off the job, and then the 80% working, within that working environment. So a fantastic opportunity there. They do form a natural progression route as well for those of you that may already be on an apprenticeship and you're looking for the next stage. You don't have to do a level 2 or level 3 apprenticeship to do a higher apprenticeship. And there are a number of pathways and routes into that. So that might be that you're already on an apprenticeship and you want to go to the next level. You might be studying A levels and you think, I'm going to be able to go to university, but I don't think I want to. I want to go and do a higher apprenticeship actually and get paid and not incur loans. And it might be someone that's working already in a company, or someone that's employing staff that have been with them a while, and they think, I want to invest in my existing staff, and this is a great way to do that. And there's no age limit. So whether you're 16 or 100, if you want to do a higher apprenticeship, you are able to do that. And it's more about making sure that you're selecting the right route and pathway for you, and finding an employer that wants to take you on or invest in you if they're already working with you. And again, it doesn't matter how long you've been out of formal education. We often get people saying, look, and I'm sure there'll be people online. We've got lots of people online joining us this morning, which is brilliant. And there'll be people thinking, well, I didn't study 20 years ago. It doesn't matter. It's more about looking at what qualifications, what experience you've got, and what the opportunities are that we can open up for you to enable you to access this training, really. So that's what it's about. Okay. So then moving on, let's look at the benefits then of a higher apprenticeship. So of course I mentioned, didn't I, earn while you learn, which is absolutely amazing in this current climate. And we've saw some really challenging situations for students that are stuck in halls of residence, and incurring £9,000 loans. I mean, that if that's the direction that in your choice, and obviously that's great, but it isn't the only choice. As I say, you can secure employment and still get that higher level qualification. What's really important as well, these are nationally recognised as well, and indeed internationally recognised. And there's a lot of what we call parity of esteem that there didn't used to be with vocational and technical qualifications. And there was always this, it's not academic. Well, that's not the case now. And the credit value of the higher apprenticeships is right up there with foundation degrees and degrees, which is brilliant. I mentioned, as I say, about your 20% off the job studies, and not every program is unique, but generally you'd be looking at that 20% off the job would generally be made up of, say, 1 day a week coming to college, and as I say, the other 4 days you're in work contributing to the workplace. But sometimes they'll be on block, and it's what works for the employers and what works for you. So it's very much, we tailor the programs to meet the needs of the companies and the apprentices, really. Okay, there's no tuition fees, so you don't pay for anything. Okay, you're being paid, and the training costs are funded through it's basically government funded through the ESFA, and your employer, depending on their circumstances, they will know this, whether they're paying a levy, and they will make it making a contribution to it as well, your fees. So from your point of view, there's no cost. It's all about earning and learning, which is fantastic, actually. Okay, so we'll move on. So a typical higher apprenticeship, what does it sort of look like? If we sort of like decompartmentalize it, broke it all down, as I say, they're all different. I'm going to shortly going to talk to you about the different apprenticeships that we offer at level 4 and 5. But they can range from anything from 2 years. In fact, there's some that are 18 months actually, but generally they range typically from 2 to 4 years. But as I say, some actually last 5 years. We don't offer those, but they are out there. Obviously, you can imagine they are sort of technically, it's all about the kind of level of technical, how in depth it is, how specialized it is, and so on. Ours generally running from sort of 18 months to 24 months predominantly. So the core elements, what's across every apprenticeship, actually, there's 3 elements. We often talk about KSBs, and what it is they're all made up of 3 core elements specific to A, that sector, that industry, and B, the needs of your employer, because you might end up working in a very specialist sort of field, so to speak. It might be in the digital industries, for example, but it might be quite niche, and therefore we need to tailor it. So we're taking what I would say are the generic elements of that sector or that industry, and then we bespoke it further to make it align to your company's needs, really. So the knowledge, skills, and behaviours are very much about the knowledge. Is often included with the knowledge is a standalone technical qualification. Very often the skills, obviously, the skills and competencies to be able to conduct your job, because we all know, we can achieve a qualification. Does that make you competent to be able to do the job? So it's that balance of knowledge and skills. Okay, and behaviours. We all know, don't we, in the world of work, that we have to behave a certain way. You've got a corporate identity, you've got professional standards, you've got customer service, being being reliable, trustworthy, prompt, problem solver, good team player. So all the behaviors that are pertinent to that particular field, you're looking at as well. So you can see it's a very holistic approach to training. And of course, a lot of the elements are generic as well. So it's sort of transferable if you move from one employer to another. And they can, as I mentioned just now, they can be tailored to fit, to fully align with your business or your employer's needs as well, which is really important. I mentioned just now about the different qualifications that can be attached. Many of them do have standalone technical qualifications that you guys may be familiar with, such as an MVQ level 4 or an HNC or an HND. Okay, and those are typical of the kind, and it might be a technical diploma at level 4 as well. Okay. The other unique thing about the higher apprenticeships, and all the apprenticeships actually, is that they have what we call an EPA, an end point assessment. So what that is, at the end of your 2 or 4 years, when we're deemed, when it's deemed that you're ready and prepared, we call that getting through the gateway. So there's lots of assessments and judgments and conversations and discussions to say, do you know what? You know, I think Abdul is ready. I think Arnu's ready for the endpoint assessment. So no one's thrown into this unless you're ready for it. But obviously with the training and skills development, you know, we got a fantastic success rate on endpoint assessments. So that's a kind of like an exam where it might be a practical based element and it might be a theory based element, and everyone is uniquely different based on the discipline that you're studying. But again, massive support in preparing you for that, really. Okay. And that's at the end of your apprenticeship. Something that's obviously essential as well is, you know, I tend to use the term literacy and numeracy, and I know it's, you know, that you know, perhaps I'm a bit old fashioned, but English and maths sometimes is a bit of scary, isn't it? English, oh, I hate English, I hate maths, but it's all contextualized in terms of how you would apply the English, the communication skills, the literacy skills, the math, the analytical methods and so on within your world of work. So what's essential is that you have to have a minimum of a level 2 in English and maths before you could actually go through and complete the endpoint assessment. So generally we would expect someone doing a higher apprenticeship to already have a level 2 in English and maths before they were going on to a higher apprenticeship. The point is you've got to have achieved it because it's an integral part of the apprenticeship. So if you haven't got it, but say, for example, if someone wants to invest in you, you might just not have got the formal qualifications, and we would need to get you that as part of your training as well. Okay. So what I would just want to do now then is look at some of the standards that we offer at the moment, a fantastic range. And you can see there from whether they're technical in content or professional, you know, whether it's the professional service industries or whether it's on the sort of construction engineering side of things. You can see there a good range. So operational department manager, level 5, you can see there level 5, and that, you know, and that's a 2.5-year program. Data analyst, which is becoming very, very popular at the moment, obviously with the sort of like evolution in digital technologies, really, and obviously remote working as well, and big data. Some of you guys are saying, what's big data? But some out there will be going, yeah, we know big data. Internet of Things, yeah, you know who you are. The techie guys out there. Learning and skills teachers, for those obviously wanting to get into the education sector, which is an incredibly rewarding field, I must say. And you can see there we've got the construction QS. We tend to talk about QSs, quantity surveying, site engineers and site supervisors, all at level 4 over a 3-year period. I would say we're currently also looking at developing some engineering technology higher apprenticeships at the moment as well. So we can move on. I can show you the ones that we are developing currently. So in addition, as I say, the engineering one is just about to come onto this process, really. But facilities management, that's a new one. And again, these are all demand led. So this is us talking. We've got a fantastic relationship with employers, and these are the ones that businesses and employers saying, look, we want, you know, we're looking for higher skilled people or to train people into higher skills in these fields. So project manager there. You can see Chartered Institute of Procurement Services there, endorsed commercial procurement and supply, payroll manager, and accountancy. So you can see from level 4 to level 5, and again ranging from 18 months to 2 years there. So some really exciting new developments there for us, and we'll hopefully be able to launch these very, very soon as well. Okay, so thank you for listening. I think we're going to have some questions towards the end, and I'm sure you guys are already putting questions to us, which is brilliant. So I'm going to hand back over to Catherine now. Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, we do have some questions, and I have some questions as well that have come to my mind. The first question that I want to ask is around, because they're higher level apprenticeships, what does that mean in terms of earnings? Does it tend to be that you earn more money, or how does it work in that respect?
That's a really, really good question, actually. So generally, you would have perhaps be, sort of 18 plus. Generally, we would normally expect, even though it's open to 16-year-olds, generally 18 plus. So what there are pay scales, if you like, for, so say someone's 16 and they're leaving school and they're going straight onto an apprenticeship. There's sort of minimum wage elements and such that come into account. And one of the things with the level 2 and level 3 apprenticeships, if you're between 16 and 18, is that, often people saying, oh, my mate earns much more. He's a labourer on a building site. He's earning twice as much as me. But what happens as you go through your skills development and you develop, your earnings literally go up exponentially. So often, and I did my apprenticeship quite a few years ago, and I was on quite a low wage for several years, but then it rapidly increased. Now with a higher apprenticeship, I would say you would be commanding wages perhaps between, certainly minimum, I would suggest, of say 18,000. Potentially you could be starting a higher apprenticeship, maybe even on sort of 22, 25,000, and then rising depending on that industry and that sector. So yeah, some great opportunities there for earnings.
Do you want to come in there just to maybe just to talk a little bit about anecdotally about what you're seeing with regards to this matter?
Yeah, absolutely. Morning, everybody. It's so lovely to see so many of you here. It's interesting, really, in the sort of the debate out there about how much can you earn as a higher apprenticeship. I just do want to stress that for higher apprenticeships, you need to be 18 years or older. So you can't actually be younger than 18. There is, of course, a range of other apprenticeships for those younger than 18, between the age of 16 to 18, which are fabulous opportunities if you are interested in an apprenticeship. And I think we shouldn't get too obsessed about how much would you earn as an apprenticeship. I think what you really need to focus on is the benefits of an apprenticeship and a higher apprenticeship. You won't be bogged down with student loan that you will have to start paying back as soon as you reach the threshold of £25,000. You have that freedom and kind of almost relaxed attitude to, my finances aren't, I'm going into such amount of debt, if you have an apprenticeship role and you are getting paid. But Simon's absolutely right there. It can start at sort of 16,000, moving up to 22,000. Perhaps some of them, it depends also on your unique circumstances. So you may be, over 30 with a wealth of experience already. So it is really about negotiating that salary and that apprenticeship salary with your employer. And remember, it's for your employer as well. For them, it's a benefit in upskilling you while you're working for them. So they're getting, a benefit from both sides. They're giving you the time to study, perhaps in block release 1 day a week, or sometimes they do it, over a week here and a week there. You're earning while you're learning, but for them, they're investing in their workforce as such. So, they're perhaps paying a levy into the government funding of it, but don't do an apprenticeship because you want to make money quickly. No. Is my advice always. Remember, especially those of you who are still young, you will earn more than you do just from a delivery driver, for instance. There's so many upsides of upskilling yourself, getting that education in there. And I'm talking about any apprenticeship. I'm not just, we're often watching the Apprentice on TV. I'm sure many of you have watched those. that is a reality TV show. May I just point that out? It is a reality TV show scripted. It is not always the real world. And it always seems very glamorous, these ladies prancing around in their high heels and men in these exquisite suits. We're looking at apprenticeships, you know, engineering, construction, teacher training. You know, we're looking at providing apprenticeships for where the job market is, really, you know, what is available out there. Because the last thing you want to do is do a course where you have no kind of real progression into employment.
And I think just picking up on that point, Mimi, I guess the other big thing is that because you are in a relationship directly with an employer, you would hope, and I know it's not a guarantee, but you would hope that that would give you a direct route into employment at the end of your apprenticeship. Whereas if you go down the degree route, a lot of people will come out with a degree, but actually it doesn't lead directly into a job. And I guess at the moment it's about, you know, building those relationships and really importantly getting those employability skills so that actually you are employable. You haven't just been through a degree course at university and actually have none of the actual functional skills that are needed to be able to work well in the workplace. I've got a question from a lady, Victoria. She says she has a maths degree, but she is interested in doing an accountancy apprenticeship. And we put up, didn't we, that we were looking at bringing on this apprenticeship. So it doesn't stop you, presumably, if you already have a degree, then going on to an apprenticeship. Mimi?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's very much, if there's if you've already got a qualification that's relevant to that sector and would be recognised in that industry, in that job role, then technically that would be like sort of funding you to get another qualification when you've already got something that makes you eligible. So from that perspective, it wouldn't be a problem, but that would be looked at to determine that actually that's not something that already qualifies you to do that job. So yeah. Okay.
Did you want to come in on that, Mimi, or was that?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. Simon's absolutely right. You do need to be careful. A maths degree is a maths degree, but if you're pivoting into accountancy, that is a different area as such, because it's not maths, obviously. But you just do need to look into the funding implications thereof, because at the moment the government rules are they will provide you with funding for per level, almost, as I like to call it. So you can have a student loan for a degree, your first degree, for perhaps if that was maths. And this is regardless if you've had a student loan before or not. So if you've already got a qualification, there are some stipulations from the government that they may not be able to fund you again for another equal qualification, but it depends on what the skill is. So there are some exemptions in place for teacher training and also at the moment for the healthcare industries. So there are certain caveats in terms of what can and what can't be funded by the government. But that's something, certainly something I'll take away and have a look at as well, and perhaps provide more information.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing to say about this webinar, and in fact all of our webinars this week, is it really is an opportunity for you, obviously, to hear directly from Simon and Mimi, but actually we're really keen to pick up with you afterwards, after this webinar, and we will do an email out to everybody. If you want to talk to us directly, we would encourage that, because it isn't straightforward. There's lots of different routes you could take, and just because you think you might want to do accountancy, actually there might be a vacancy that we might be recommending to you as being a better route. I think the point to make is that there has to be a vacancy. So there's somebody that's asked about can she do a level 5 apprenticeship in advertising and graphic design. The answer would be yes, because I'm sure there is an apprenticeship. Am I right, Simon, at that level?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
But there needs to be an employer that is looking to fill that vacancy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Totally. But I'm assuming that if there was somebody out there who had that desire, that there could be a proactive approach made to an employer to say, actually, there's an opportunity here. Would you be interested in taking on an apprentice, a higher level apprentice to help your business, which I'm presuming, Simon, we would do within the college, reach out proactively to employers?
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we do. We shape our curriculum offer, whether that's full-time, HE, or level 2, level 3, technical, vocational. It's all shaped around the local and regional job market, if you like, and industry needs. There's no point in us offering something that because we feel we want to do it. It's very much aligned. So absolutely. So that feedback loop, if you like, in terms of what people are asking us about, we try and get underneath that and say, where's this coming from? Is it someone that's just thinking about this as an idea, or is it because they can see there's lots of jobs? And we're talking to employers to sort of like say, what are your training needs for your organization to future-proof you? Obviously, with Brexit and so on, organizations are reevaluating, their skills within their organizations. So it's very much sort of, we're temperature checking all the time to make sure our offer aligns. And, examples like, that lady just mentioned there, there might be other people that are also inquiring to us. So that's sort of an indicator for us to say, we need to explore this further. So it's really important, as Catherine says, that let's keep that dialogue going really between yourselves and us. Once we're engaging and there's that dialogue, that helps inform what we do really. Yeah. So
talk to us. Tell us what you are looking for. Tell us what about you, what your qualifications are, and we can then have a conversation with you about what the best route might be, and there might be, as I say, another suggested route. Just a couple of questions before I hand the presentation back to you, Mimi. Someone has a social work degree, however, they would like to be a midwife. What would be the best route for that? Mimi?
So, Catherine, I'm pleased you picked up on that one. I just saw that question as well. So this is what I was talking about a minute ago about there are certain exemptions if you pivot and you go, you have a degree and you're going into something else. Midwifery at the moment is really hot, for lack of a better word. It is an area, there's a skills deficit at this point in time. So the government are looking to invest into people who want to become midwives. The best bet, we don't offer midwifery apprenticeship at Croydon at the moment. It is a NMC registered accreditation that you requires Nurses and Midwifery Council, and we are working very closely with them at this point in time, but that is not something we can do within the next year, possibly in 18 months' time. My suggestion to you would be to go to the NHS, your local NHS Trust website, and see what apprenticeship vacancies they have. And because you've already got a degree, you'll be a very strong candidate. But that would be my suggestion to you. If you're interested in becoming a midwife, do look out. If you're in the Croydon area, go to NHS Croydon Hospital, for instance. I believe, Catherine, am I right in saying we had them in on a talk earlier this week?
So yesterday we did a webinar in conjunction with the NHS and Croydon University Hospital. They have a huge apprenticeship programme, which at the college we are partnering with them on. Now, I have to say that I think a lot of those vacancies are what I call back-end vacancies, so more the office sort of support roles. But if you read that webinar will shortly be going live on our website, and if you have a look at that, it will give you the contacts to who you should reach out to. Because although that webinar wasn't necessarily about midwifery or nursing, it would give you some good contacts and some good insight into that route. So do take a look at that as well. Got some great questions coming in. I will pop in shortly into the chat. Basically, all of our apprentices are available on our vacancies section of our apprenticeship pages on the croydon.ac.uk website. They are updated on a Monday, but as we already said, if there isn't a vacancy there that you think is right for you, then do still reach out to us. And I'll also be putting in the chat the name of our admissions officer, who is a lady called Holly. So I'll put her details in the chat as well, so you know who to go to. Keep your questions coming. I'm going to ask Mimi to bring us back to the presentation, and then we'll pick up some more questions. So back to you, Mimi, if we can. Tasha, I think you're sharing screen. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm just going to say hello again to everybody. I feel that's an appropriate place to start. So I'm linked to the Croydon University Centre, and some of you may be aware of us and some of you may not, and some of you might think, where is the Croydon University Centre? So I just wanted to raise a bit of awareness where we are, what we do. While we've all got you in this room with us together. We are part of the Croydon College and we offer higher education. So I'm head of higher education at the Croydon University Centre. What is higher education? It's any studies of level 4 and above. So higher apprenticeships, it is a foundation diploma if you're doing that. It is degree level. We have a variety of higher education courses on offer. We're literally inside Croydon College on the 3rd floor. We've got a lovely new brand going. You can see our new logo there. We're just trying to kind of let people know we are here, and we have been doing higher education for about 30 years now, linking with different university partners. We've partnered with University of Sussex, we're partners with the University of Roehampton. We've got some lovely collaborations going with London Met and other universities as well. So just to give you a bit of a background where we are, we're very accessible. We're obviously within Croydon College. We're set in the heart of Croydon, close to the transport links. We're about a 2-minute walk, if it is that much, from East Croydon tram station. The trams run past there. We have a bus stop. They have recently redone the access road to the college called College Road. So we're really in the hub of Croydon town, which is really lovely and close for shops, for bars, once this lockdown has been lifted. So very, very accessible for local people. Then I've mentioned we have a wide range of offering the study degree courses that we offer, but not just degrees. We're offering the apprenticeships as well. And at the moment, we've got an HNC, it's a level 4, it's a higher national certificate in construction in the built services environment. The beauty of those kind of courses is that you get taught alongside people who don't have an apprenticeship, but they come in once a week as well. So you get to a mix with some real students, full-time students, and they're perhaps doing part-time work. So if you are here just purely for higher apprenticeships, do go and have a look at our website, because we do offer a range of other courses as well. And then I've mentioned the quality assured. We're quality assured. We've partnered from next year. Our degrees for new students are being validated by the University of Roehampton. And then most of our agencies are higher national certificates. That's your level 4, is quality assured by Pearson's, which is one of the top bodies for agencies in the country, which is really lovely. And we do our teacher training through City and Guilds, another really well recognized qualification there. And that teacher training qualification is a level 5. So that's one step up. So that's just a bit of the background about what the other offerings are that we have. And affordability. I think we can't stress that enough in these times. You know, people are sitting at home, not being able to work, being made redundant. Our tuition fees is as low as we possibly can. And I don't know how many of you have seen the recent news. We've been able and very lucky and fortunate at Croydon College and the University Centre that we could put a freeze on courses starting in September, which means we haven't raised, because normally what happens every year, higher education institutions would look at inflation rates and how their books are balanced, and then raise their tuition fees every year. We've not done that. In fact, we've not raised our tuition fees for our degree courses for the past 6 years now, and that is a flat rate of £6,000 per year. Higher apprenticeships, those obviously you will not be paying for your higher apprenticeships, your employer will be paid for that, but just in terms of if you were looking for doing a different higher education course, just our real affordable prices there is something to look out for. And then something I pride ourselves on is our student support and how we've been able to establish a really supportive and inclusive environment within the college and the University Centre. We have students from a wide range of backgrounds. They're coming from all over Croydon, they're coming from South London, they're coming from, you know, further out. We have such a wonderful mix of students attending our University Centre. And we really pride ourselves in providing that support. We have pastoral support programs, and it really is shaping the experience around the student. That's really one of our top priorities at Croydon University Centre. And I've already mentioned we have been successfully delivering, they keep saying 25 years, it is almost 30 years now. Catherine, if I can have the next slide, please. There we go. And then just a little bit mention of the teaching and the resources at Croydon University Centre. There's some lovely pictures up there on the screen if you can see those. So what I've mentioned before is you'll be part of the University Centre, Croydon University Centre, where we will be delivering the courses from. So if you're an apprentice, more often than not, you'll sit in the class alongside other students, which is really a way of just giving you exposure to other students and what they're doing and that mixed approach. So we have experienced lecturers who are specialised in their fields. Especially this year, we've had been really lucky to acquire a construction lecturer who's teaching on the H&C construction course. A just fantastic experience with the industry as well as being an academic. So that is really what makes us unique as well. Our lecturers aren't just academics, which you get at a massive big university. You know, you get a professor that started his degree and he stayed on and on and on and on. What makes our courses so really special, I can't find another word than special this morning, I don't know, twisting my own words here, is the fact that we use lecturers who have been working in industry, perhaps like Simon, who's gone through an apprenticeship and now has found his way back to education. You know, just giving you that real life experience plus being an academic. So that's really a two-sided approach, which is really lovely. And academic support. We offer an academic support program as well. So some of you might think, oh, I'm not academic, stop with the academic. The numeracy and literacy, which Simon was talking about earlier, it is still a higher education course. So you have to remember that there will be some kind of, you know, writing reports, writing essays. There are no exams, just there are endpoint assessments, but no physical exams. So don't worry about those. So we do offer academic support throughout your course. You'll either have a personal tutor, or we have student services or the subject librarians who can help you with formulating a report, academic referencing and those kind of things. So it's really sort of a holistic approach, which Simon mentioned before as well. And then cohort sizes. I think it's so often people see these pictures of big universities where you're 300 in a class and you don't really have any individualized attention. We're quite the opposite at Croydon University Centre. We have smaller cohort sizes. They're often no more than 25 in a class. Actually, for the apprenticeships, they're more like between 5 and 10 to 12, perhaps, students in a class. So you really get that individualized approach. You know, a small little cohort, you can stay in touch and support each other as well. And obviously, with this pandemic, I was lucky enough to sit on the student council yesterday and hearing from all our student reps, and they feedback on how their cohorts are feeling and stuff. And we have a higher education student executive officer who's kind of a board member and the head of the whole student rep council. And he fed back on the positives of COVID-19. And I thought, wow, what an interesting way to spin it, because we all feel like, oh, this pandemic, and we're all just, what a challenge. And it was wonderful to hear from our students how they felt the pandemic has actually helped them in acquiring more technology skills and learning how to adapt really quickly and swiftly to online learning, and adapt to incorporating more learning apps into their normal life that will stand them in good stead for when they go into the professional world. So at the moment, what we're doing is a blend of online and on-campus teaching, which is something we will be continuing in the future. I mean, at the moment, we're actually in lockdown, so it's all online at the moment, but looking towards the future, and in September, we're hoping that we'll be allowed on campus again, which I'm sure we will be with the vaccination program being rolled out so swiftly. And then the other right resources, sorry, I'm conscious of time, Catherine. I know I need to move this along. We also have 24-hour access to our virtual learning environment. So we use Moodle, which is used by most of higher education institutions across the country. And it gives you 24 hours access. You log in, you have your user details and your password, your whole course is on there. You can dip in and out of resources. You submit your submissions and your assignments online as well. And not only that, we have, I think on the picture there on the right, I'm thinking this is your right and not my left, never know. We have a lovely learning resource centre, a library. For those old school like me, I like to call it a library. Learning resource centre with a lot of access to journals, academic books, all sorts of things that you will need to support your learning. And not only that, it's completely online. So, you know, in situations like these where we are, well, we can't go in, you can access the library online, you log in via Athens, and you can still access those ebooks and journals. And then, of course, as Simon mentioned right in the beginning, you also have access to the world of work, which comes under Simon's wonderful department, to track your work experience and make you career ready. Of course, if you're an apprenticeship, you're already doing that, which is such a bonus and a plus. I think that's all from me. No, there was one more slide. So this one is really just about bringing the focus back to higher apprenticeships in investing in your future and start a higher apprenticeship, really. It's all there up on the slide. So as I've literally just mentioned, as an apprentice and a higher apprentice, you will be part of our student community, and you'll be getting some support from a team of from both your employer and higher education experts who will be delivering the course to you on campus or online. And then, of course, you'll be supported off the job training, and we focus on a blended and a project-based learning, especially with the higher national certificates. It's there, you do kind of 8 units over the 2 years for a year, and there's a project at the end of it, but you will be fully supported to complete these projects. And for higher apprenticeships, you'll also be doing having an e-portfolio that kind of tracks your journey from when you started as an apprentice to your end point. And then that all serves to help with your endpoint assessment, your EPA, to you just basically, it's the evidence you've submitted at the end of it to show, yes, I've met these basic skills, the knowledge and the behaviours that was required as the whole apprenticeship package. And then, of course, you'll be receiving regular progress reviews between your trainer and your assessor and your employer. So they're literally tracking you all the way along. So it's not like you start a high apprenticeship and you're left on your own, off you go into the wide world. No, you'll be having regular checks, and people will be checking in on you and sitting and meeting with you to ensure you're on track to achieve your targets, to achieve your assignments. And then I've already mentioned you'll also receive some support in preparing for formal assessments and exams if there are any exam writings. That's very dependent on your course, I may add. And then we have a fantastic student services department at the college, and you will be able to access that for one-to-one individual support as well. And we also offer pastoral and welfare support. It's all available. We've recently acquired another wellbeing practitioner who's available to, for one-to-one sessions, as wellbeing is such a massive issue for all of us in this lockdown at the moment. I think, Catherine, I've touched on everything there. Of course, we are here for questions, if any of you have a question. But over to you, Catherine. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mimi. I mean, I think, the point that we're trying to stress here is that the University Centre is part of Croydon College. And at Croydon College, we are actually 3 campuses. We're Croydon College, but we're also the Colston Sixth Form Centre, based just south of central Croydon. And we are the University Centre. So actually, across all 3 campuses, there is a whole wealth of opportunity. And just picking up on some of the things that Simon mentioned earlier, it's actually quite difficult sometimes to know what the right route is. And there is a question actually from Hajira. It'd be interesting actually to know, Hajira, what age you are, because you're asking what combination would prepare me better for a graphic design stroke advertising level of 5 apprenticeship. You're saying, is it A-level media, business and graphics, or is it BTEC, ICT foundation diploma, A-level graphics and an A-level photography? I mean, there's all these questions, and we have a wealth of expertise. And I just wanted to give a shout out for some other events that are happening in March. During March, the first week in March is actually National Careers Week, but throughout the whole of March, we're running a series of events which are going to be called Career Pathway events. And they're kicking off on the 3rd of March virtually at some events at Colston Sixth Form College. And we're talking very much about this very question about, what is your career pathway? What should you study? And at Colston, you can very much mix and match your subjects to suit the career pathway that you want to take. So we'll be bringing together our lecturers, we'll also be bringing together students, but really importantly, we're bringing in some ex-students and also some industry experts that can talk specifically about career pathways and what experience they've had of what's got them from A to B and what route they've chosen. So just that's a shout out. We will, those of you that have given us permission to keep in touch with you on the GDPR preferences, we will email you all and let you know about those activities, because that will give you further insight. But Simon, do you just want to pick up on this about what might be the right route in terms of higher level apprenticeships?
Yeah, definitely. What I'm going to mention as well, and actually we haven't put the link, so I don't know, Catherine, while I'm explaining this, whether you would be good enough to find, there's an Institute of Apprenticeships link. Yeah. And what that is, guys, that will enable you to go on to, it's a national website and you can literally type in it's a fantastic resource. You can type in the subject, you can pick a level, you can pick a sector, and then you can hit filter, you can adjust the levels, and it will literally give you the range of qualifications and specifications.
Is that the Institute for Apprenticeships.org? Would that be it?
You got it, yeah.
I'll put that into the chat.
Brilliant. And the great thing with that is when you look in, you can click on that and you can look at each of the apprenticeship standards has got what we call occupational standards, okay? And it's basically the specification. And what you can see there are different pathways within each apprenticeship standard. So by looking, that would be a great first point of reference. I would suggest go in there, find maybe that you might spot one or two standards that you think, oh, that looks and feels kind of right. When you then click and open up the specification, it shows you the pathways, and then it's about spotting the one that you think best aligns with the areas of interest that you've outlined there. And then what it's about is coming and talking to us about, I'm interested in this approach. I've had a look at it. Are there any employers around that would be interested in supporting me with this? And then what we would be doing is we would be looking to support you in developing your CV, reaching out to those employers that we identify that we feel could potentially be involved in that. And we may already have, it's very likely that we're already talking to employers. As you can imagine, if we create a course for every inquiry that we got, however kind of tentative that inquiry was, we'd be offering so many courses, it would be crazy. So it's very much about making informed developments, but how that is shaped is by what we're describing here. Explore what your interests are and then trying to align that with some businesses and seeing what we can where we can get to.
Thank you. Yeah, carry on, Mimi.
Catherine, can I just add? So there was a question, I'm not sure if it's the same question, about, what entry qualifications do I need? Just to add to that, to do a level 4 or a level 5 higher apprenticeship or higher education course, you need a level 3. You don't need to do a level 5, you don't need a level 4.
So just for those like me that are ignorant about levels, what do you mean by a level 3? What does that?
A level 3, you'll often, so the requirement will be depending. So for instance, you wanted to go in, I'm not reading the whole message here, but you want to go into graphic design. So what somebody would like to see is if you've got a level 3 that is either made up of, is it 5 GCSEs or a combination of 3 A levels or a BTEC level 3 extended diploma in a relevant subject. And I think that in a relevant subject is really key here. So you need to look at what is the course you're trying to go on to, and if that's a graphic design. So
it was Hajira, I think, asking about that, wasn't it? And my question to Hajira was, obviously, if you're thinking about going to graphic design at that level, you need to be able to demonstrate that you have that ability and you've done some pre-qualification. You couldn't just think, I might fancy being a graphic designer. Can I just suddenly join at level 5? Clearly, you've got to be able to demonstrate that you have that ability and you have some qualification, presumably at A-level standard or above.
Exactly. And often, I mean, there is the caveat, if you're a much more mature person and you've already have some kind of work experience as a graphic designer and it's not demonstrable on an actual qualification, there's a little bit of leeway there, but that's something you need to address with either your employer or, if you're looking to apply for a course.
I think that's an interesting point, Mimi, isn't it? Because actually what you've got to remember about all of these vacancies is they are real job vacancies, and the employer will get presumably to interview their candidates, and there will be a cohort of candidates for them to choose from, and what they're looking for may well be, as you rightly say, more about actual practical experience in a subject that might suit them more than actually we're needing to see in the academic area. Would that be fair? So it's very much down to the individual employer's decision as well.
Absolutely, Catherine. And for instance, with the graphic design and the more sort of arts orientated courses, there may be asking you to submit a portfolio, for instance, and that could be something you were doing as a GCSE or an A level, or anything you have been working on as well. But it really is, I mean, there's so many, like Simon said, there's so many unique little things that you could have been doing up to this point that will count as evidence for them. But it is really about what you're doing at the moment and aligning that with the next step in your career journey.
So it is very much a pathway, isn't it? So I have just popped into the chat, first of all, that link to the Institute of Apprenticeships, but also the link to our pathway events that we're holding in March, which I think would be helpful to some people that are watching. I've just got a question here. Do you currently have any employers supporting the chartered managing degree? I've interest in entering apprenticeship level, but have a level 3 in another sector, but 10 years corporate, retail and management experience. So I think again,
actually at the moment we're collaborating very closely with the Chartered Management Institute, and we are being accredited as a centre. So very soon we will be having those accredited courses on. We are already, so our business degree that we're offering is already some of the units. If you complete a module on there, you will get a Chartered Management Institute leadership and management qualification alongside that. So that is work that we're working on. So there's definitely scope to do that from next year, probably January, I would say. But that is, please keep that communication open with us. It is something we are doing.
If I can add as well, on that very note, there's something in apprenticeships, it's a term we call APL, accreditation of prior learning. And as you can imagine, when you go from level 2 up to level 5, as you go up a level, there's a lot more what we call APL that you can account for. And that's what we're sort of really describing here. It's very, very much individualized. So, you could have 2 people going for the same job. And actually, we're looking at what they've got in terms of prior achievement, whether it's formal qualifications. It could be literally 10 years of experience of doing a job, which makes them highly competent. They just don't have the bit of paper that confirms it, So the APL is something that plays a big part as we go up to the higher levels, really. So it's very much about engaging with the college, having that interview with you, looking at what qualifications you've got, and really developing a best fit for you to be able to engage. Yeah.
Right. Just picking up on a couple of other things. Someone's asked, is the apprenticeship the same place as the college? Well, what we've clearly tried to explain is that if you do an apprenticeship with Croydon College, you will spend an element of your time at our premises here in the heart of central Croydon. The rest of the time you will be based wherever the employer is based. And so that could be within Croydon, but it could be beyond Croydon. It's down to where the employer is based. There was a question about how apprenticeships have been affected by the pandemic. Well, clearly they've been affected in a positive way because the government has made some extra funding available, haven't they, Simon, to employers to incentivise.
Yeah. There's lots of incentives, totally, to obviously compensate for the challenges, that the pandemic has caused. And do contact us about that if you're an employer, certainly, and we can talk to you about those incentives and financial support that you can get as well. So if you were thinking, I was going to go to that next level and take someone on, but I'm not sure now, actually there's lots of incentives that encourage them, that work for employers. So actually, that financial incentives and so on to support you if you weren't sure about making that decision. So do reach out to us and we can talk you through those. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So I'm conscious that we're nearing the end of the time. I think we've answered most of the live questions, and hopefully what you've found this helpful. And the main message, as I say, is to keep in contact with us. I've popped Holly Reynolds is the Apprenticeships admissions manager, and she's a good point of call. If you want to drop her a line, I've popped her email into the chat just to register your interest, explain who you are and what you're looking for, and she will in turn reach back out to you and arrange the necessary next steps. Obviously our website is updated every Monday with current vacancies, so do keep your eye on that. So I just want to come firstly to Mimi for a few sort of final last words. What would be your advice to anybody who's currently in thinking about a higher level apprenticeship? Just find a few words, Mimi.
Catherine, well, I would just basically summarize it as, be proactive. Go onto the websites. If there's an employer you have in mind, if you really want to work with, you know, if it's Barclays, or if it's Shell, the Shell Corporation, I can't think of a funky IT place, but if there is an employer you have in mind, watch their websites, keep looking for search apprenticeship vacancies, because often if we advertise stuff, but often there is an apprenticeship vacancy available at an employer that you really want to work for. Or look for apprenticeships in the area that you're interested as well, because your first point of contact, your first stepping stone would be to find the apprenticeship vacancy. We've only got so many available, but there are perhaps other places out there that has apprenticeship vacancy in the area that you are interested in and that you would like to pursue. And saying that, also consider if you don't want to do an apprenticeship, you know, we have a range of other courses available, short courses, long courses, diplomas, degree courses, you know, so there are options for you. And like Catherine said, you know, we're across 3 different institutions basically, so yeah, should be something for everybody.
And I guess, you know, that's another good point really. Go on to the Croydon College website, have a look more generally at all the courses that are available, and an email address for you, admissions@croydon.ac.uk, is a general email that will take you through to the admissions team that can talk in more detail about admissions to any of our courses, and that could be a distance learning course, it could be an apprenticeship, but it could be a BTEC, or it could be an A-level, or whatever it is. That is the route in. It's a great pity that we can't invite you into the building. We do have some virtual tours of the buildings and the college facilities on the website. Do spend some time. We also have some great course videos, tutor videos on the website. So Mimi's tutors are actually on the website. You can hear from them about the particular higher education courses that are on offer. So, final few words from you, Simon.
Yeah, I'd like to really extend on what Mimi said. If this is something you want to explore further, and you know, you definitely want to do it in terms of the different companies, it's all about doing your research. You know, I would say, you know, it's a challenging job market out there in some respects, because you know, employers are thinking in a different way about what they need. You know, what they need in terms of staff, skills within their organization, you know, to kind of future-proof them, as I mentioned. So when you're looking to apply for a job or reach out to a company, remember how you communicate really. It's a very different thing than when you're WhatsApping your mates and whatever. Present yourself in a professional way. Do your research. There's so much of, I mean, one of the kind of own goals people often make is they don't do their research and they go in. So tell me, one of the first questions I always ask, so tell me, what do you know about the company then? And they go, well, you know, find out about the company, find out what the strategic vision is, find out who they work with internationally, you know, what their corporate social responsibility kind of agenda is, because those are the things that are going to impress people. Go, wow, this person, I want you working for me. You want them to meet you and go, wow, this person's going to make such a difference to my organization. So do your research, invest in yourselves, and if you can invest in yourselves, other people will want to invest in you, really. And really, thank you for joining, because it's been brilliant. We've had some fantastic people join us this morning. We're really pleased. Some brilliant questions, and really good luck to you guys. You know where we are. Please do reach out to us.
Thank you, Simon. So just to reiterate, please do talk to us. Watch this back. This video will go live on our website on Monday. Go onto the website, explore it, watch some of the other webinars that we are running on these subjects. Croydon College, based in the centre of town, the Will to Work team, headed by Simon, and to Mimi, head of the Higher Education Provision at Croydon University Centre. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and we hope that we'll be talking with you very, very soon. Thanks very much, and goodbye for now.